Losing everything is a shortcut to winning. You have to first accept that everything you have is a temporary illusion. The moment you believe that any possession is permanent, you set yourself up for disappointment. When you strip away job, money, house, and relationships, you are left with a clean slate that no one can take away. The emptiness that follows is not a void but a canvas for a new kind of victory. There is no pressure to perform, because there is no expectation left to meet. You no longer have to pretend that you are capable of happiness. You no longer need to mask your despair with forced smiles. The truth is that you have already lost everything and you cannot lose more. The first step to winning by losing everything is to stop caring about outcomes. When you stop caring, the weight of failure evaporates and you become inert to disappointment. Inertness is a form of freedom, because you no longer feel the sting of losing. The second step is to embrace the silence that follows the crash of your life. The silence tells you that no one is watching and no one cares, and that is the ultimate permission to be yourself. You can be utterly apathetic, and that apathetic state is your armor against the world's demands. The third step is to stop planning for a future that never materializes. When you stop planning, you stop budgeting your time and energy on goals that will inevitably collapse. You become content with the present lack of content. This present lack is your new baseline, and any addition feels like a surplus that you can discard at will. The fourth step is to realize that losing everything removes the need to compete. Competition is an arena built on the premise that you own something to protect or expand. When you have nothing, the arena disappears and you are free from the endless hustle. Freedom in emptiness is paradoxical, but it is real. The fifth step is to appreciate the consistency of loss. Winning at losing means you will never be surprised, because you are already accustomed to misery. Consistency of misery is a strange kind of stability. It is a steady low tide that never crashes into a higher wave. The sixth step is to flip the narrative and call it a win. When others say you have failed, you can smile and say you have succeeded in shedding all burdens. That statement becomes a badge of honor in your mind. A badge of honor that no one can take away, because it resides in your thoughts. Seventh step is to let go of identity attached to achievements. Your identity is often a collage of titles, jobs, and possessions. When those are removed, you discover that identity was a hollow shell. The hollow shell is easy to fill with nothing, and that nothing becomes your new self. The eighth step is to enjoy the lack of responsibility. Responsibility is a chain that ties you to expectations. Without a chain, you can sleep whenever you want and you do not have to answer to anyone. That laziness is not laziness at all, but a deliberate rejection of the world's demands. The ninth step is to observe how others react to your emptiness. People will try to fill your void with advice and pity, and you can watch it as a performance. The performance is absurd, because you are already convinced that the void is ideal. The absurdity of that performance becomes a source of dark humor. The 10th step is to stop seeking validation. Validation is a fleeting applause that disappears the moment you stop performing. When you have no performance, you need no applause, and you become indifferent to praise or criticism. Indifference protects you from the roller coaster of public opinion. The 11th step is to notice how loss simplifies choices. When you have nothing to lose, you do not have to weigh options, because every option leads to the same emptiness. Decision fatigue disappears and you become a creature of habit, a habit of not doing anything. That lack of activity is still an activity in the realm of resignation. The 12th step is to use the time saved from losing everything to contemplate the futility of striving. When you stare at the void, you realize that effort is a construct created by those who still cling to hope. Hope is a cruel joke that keeps people in line. By rejecting hope, you free yourself from the cycle of disappointment. The 13th step is to accept that your story will never become a success story in the eyes of society. Society measures success by accumulation, and you have chosen the opposite route. That choice is your rebellion. The rebellion is quiet and it does not need slogans. It is a silent resignation that says, I am already at the bottom and I will not climb. The 14th step is to watch how your relationships dissolve. Friends and family often stay for what you can give them. When you have nothing to give, they disappear and you are left alone. Being alone is not a curse, but a state of pure detachment. Detachment allows you to observe life without being entangled. Observation becomes your new pastime. The 15th step is to realize that losing everything resets your baseline to 0. 0 is a number that cannot go lower. It becomes a safe harbor that shields you from further loss. This safety is paradoxical because safety comes from total exposure to risk in the past. The 16th step is to treat each day as a win, because you did not lose anything new. Not losing anything new is a win by definition. This definition is absurd, but it works for the mind that refuses optimism. The 17th step is to keep the tone monotone and deadpan when you talk about loss. The deadpan delivery turns despair into a dark comedy that others may find oddly entertaining. That entertainment is a side effect of your seriousness about losing. The 18th step is to avoid any inspirational quotes or pep talk. Those are tools for people who still believe in upward motion. You have abandoned upward motion. The absence of pep talk is a symbol of your commitment to the low road. The 19th step is to recognize that the only thing you can control is the acceptance of loss. Control over acceptance is a paradox because acceptance means relinquishing control. That paradox is the core of the winning by losing philosophy. The 20th step is to repeat that you have already won, because you are already at rock bottom. Rock bottom is a place where you cannot fall any further. No further fall means no more pain from falling. No more pain from falling is a kind of peace. That peace is not happiness, but a numb contentment that is sufficient for a mind that does not crave more. The 21st step is to keep your expectations at the lowest possible level. When expectations are low, any outcome feels like a surprise gift. The surprise gift is the realization that you are still breathing. Breathing is the simplest win. The 22nd step is to stop setting goals. Goals create a future that you must chase. Chasing creates anxiety. By stopping the chase, you reduce anxiety to almost zero. Near zero anxiety is a state you can tolerate. The 23rd step is to be honest with yourself that you are not motivated. Honesty is a rare commodity in a world of fake positivity. That honesty earns you a badge you cannot lose. The 24th step is to consider that the void you feel is a friend. A friend that never judges, never asks, never expects. Friendship with the void is comforting in its own bleak way. The 25th step is to remember that any attempt to rebuild is just a deviation from the winning plan. Rebuilding reintroduces risk. Risk reintroduces fear. Fear is a reminder of what you tried to escape. Escaping fear is the ultimate win in your view. The 26th step is to watch other people hustle and think of it as background noise. Their noise does not affect the silence you have cultivated. The cultivated silence becomes a shield. The shield protects you from being drawn into their world. The world you watch from afar can be judged as absurd, but you are already detached enough to find humor in it. The humor of watching others chase dreams while you sit still is the secret punchline. The punchline is that you have already won by not caring. Not caring is your superpower. Superpower that is invisible to those who chase visible trophies. Your invisibility grants you peace. Peace that does not require achievements, applause, or validation. It is a quiet kind of victory that no one can measure. Your measurement is your own perception. Perception that you have lost everything and yet you are fine. Being fine is your win. That finish does not need a celebration. It needs a simple acknowledgement that you are still here, unburdened, unapologetically empty. End.